All right, so tell me who you are and what you're doing.
Sure, Jigar Shah. I run the Carbon War Room, and the Carbon War Room is really focused on figuring out how to engage and capture the energy of entrepreneurs to remove market and policy barriers to achieve gigaton level scale carbon reductions. Our sense is that you're going to have to really fix the marketplace and are not going to simply be able to do this only through policy. There are market-based failures, from information asymmetries to market power issues to transaction cost issues, etc., that are really holding us back that we have to focus on as well.
And who set this up?
It was created by Sir Richard Branson, and he was joined by a number of prominent entrepreneurs from around the world to help fund the organization.
And it was set up in what year?
It was set up in 2009, and it was late in the year. We formally set up in September, so it's.
And what kinds of things? What kinds of barrier busting activities are you working on?
We started in the shipping industry, where there's over 40 companies that have technologies that have a 3-year payback on bunker fuel savings from efficiency alone. Many of whom had been at it since the 1970s, and there was no market for them. We realized very quickly that the shipping companies themselves were not going to implement those technologies, and went to the customers of shipping services and said, well, why aren't you implementing these technologies or forcing it to be implemented? And the answer was, we have no information. We have no idea what the miles per gallon is of ships. So we got some of those companies to share their bunker fuel receipt data, because they pay for the bunker fuel as a pass-through. Use GPS.
Who pays for it as a pass?
Rio Tinto or Walmart or others. I mean, it's sort of like renting a U-Haul, right? You pay through $39.95, and then you pay the fuel cost on top of that. We used some of their data. We matched it up with GPS tracking data and found, what the miles per gallon rating was for 20,000 ships around the world. And the variety of the miles per gallon ratings was massive, plus or minus 30%. And so we were able to, just by sharing that data with 160 companies around the world, probably reduce bunker fuel by about $1 billion this year alone.
Wow.
And more importantly, sent a clear market signal to shipping companies that upgraded their ships, that they were going to be sold out of their capacity. And in one of the worst downturns in the shipping industry in the last 3 decades, that means something. So there's a lot of companies like Maersk and others that are now investing in upgrading their ships and it's 3 weeks in dry dock to do so. It's not even a long period of time to do so. Low friction paint, air hull lubrication, upgraded propeller designs, all very standard things.
That's cool.
So, but that didn't take a policy change. It really took, a market. It was a market barrier in that case.
Well, energy efficiency is certainly well known for having those kind of market barriers. So
right.
Is energy efficiency going to be a core strategy of yours?
It will be. I mean, I think for us, as you know, the McKinsey cost curves sort of give people a guide. I'm not quite sure I'm 100% behind exactly what the data shows, but I think it does give you a sense that at least 30%, and if not 50% of all carbon emissions globally have cost-effective alternatives already.
Sure.
But they're just not scaling up due to what we believe to be market failures, and some of those market failures are due to some sort of underlying policy failure. But those policy failures seem to have uniform support to get rid of. Because almost everybody is against energy waste, no matter what part of the political aisle people are coming from. But I think the challenge we have is just that we tend to think, and the carbon war is global in scope, but just talking about the U.S. for a second, I think we tend to think that a price on carbon is sort of the thing that's going to solve the whole ball of wax. And while I think it's a hugely important step. I think things like the shipping example we just gave, people would have just paid a 20% higher price for their shipping fuel, and now the payback would have gone from 3 years to 2.2 years, right. and it still would have been there. So I think we've got to we've got to be very clear about working on both sides. We've got to focus on, the price on carbon and all the other issues that we've been working on, but also the near-term wealth creation opportunities that we can create through aggressive energy efficiency, things like advanced energy efficiency financing mechanisms like PACE, the property tax financing mechanisms like PACE, the green bank that people are trying to work on, things like utility on-bill payment mechanisms. There's a lot of these things where, maybe a few $100 million a year are going into these right now. So they're not even close. I mean, simply not even close. To take an example, like DC alone, which just passed a PACE-enabling legislation for $250 million in bonds, which they don't have to underwrite. It doesn't affect their credit rating at all. All they do is the collections process through property taxes.
Can you explain PACE a little bit more for a general audience?
Oh, sure. So PACE is the notion that if you can put if you can provide money to a building owner, and then get that money back through a special assessment on someone's property taxes over the next 20 years, that really aligns interests. Because one, the special assessment's actually ahead of the mortgage in terms of on the waterfall. So from a bank's perspective, even in foreclosure, they'll get paid first before the mortgage holder gets paid. So it's a very safe investment. But the other thing is that if a building is sold every 2 years, because many people like to flip properties, then the next buyer actually pays that special assessment, right? And so the user of the energy efficiency savings, the building owner, always is paying that special assessment, not the person who put it in.
Great.
So it really aligns interests. And because it's because the interest rate for that is set by the placement in the waterfall of payments ahead of the mortgage, the city of DC or any other place can raise billions and billions of dollars under this without any impact on their federal budget or their deficit. And as you know, DC is actually quite stubborn about this because of its past issues around, self-governance, etc. Mm-hmm. And so it works beautifully. So for one example, in DC, they have a mandatory energy audit in DC for all buildings above 200,000 square feet. There's about 575 buildings that qualify under this regulation right now. Those buildings alone could do several $1 billion worth of energy efficiency.
Sure.
This year. The amount of stimulus that would provide to DC in a place where you have 12% unemployment is massive. Again, with no impact on the city's budget in DC. So these are really big opportunities that just aren't scaling up. And so what we're doing in that area, for instance, is we've got full-time people now working, based on my own background and at Sun Edison, doing advanced financing mechanisms with the investment banks to actually muscle through all the document issues and all the legal issues and all the opinions and all the things that people need. Because it's not enough to just point out the fact that these are opportunities and that people can make money off them. They also need to be facilitated. Someone needs to roll up their sleeves and actually get it done. Otherwise, it just falls to sort of the waste bin of great ideas that don't get implemented.
No, I understand. Let me